when you think about Israel's history in the region, and even with Hamas or Iran, these nations have sworn to destroy and annihilate the nation of Israel, right? Um, at what point does it become, given the context, at what point are you going to be okay, or would you never be okay with the U.S. defending Israel's right to exist and essentially saving the country?
First and foremost, they have a right to exist. They have a right to defend themselves. That's not the my issue with it. I can kind of give an analogy is that our house is burning down, and so is our neighbors, and we're trying to put their fire out before we put ours out. That's kind of how I view it.
So when you guys find out, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but when you find out that we're basically every year we send about almost $4 billion to Israel, does that make you upset, or do you understand it given that they're under sort of crisis ongoing?
I would say upset, and the amount since 1948, it amounts to 319 billion adjusted to inflation. And I'd say that I can think of multiple things that we could have spent at home that would have been a better allocation of our taxpayer dollars. And I feel like this money could have been well spent in supporting an economy that would support our generation being able to afford homes rather than military strikes for Israel.
What else? What would you want to see from their government? If their government came out and said, we have a 5-year plan to decouple from U.S. aid, would that help people's view of Israel? If they said, hey, we want to be self-reliant.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think that would help?
Yes.
If they're like, thank you for the help since 1948, we're a rich country, we've balanced our budget, we have money in our sovereign wealth fund, which they actually do. Thank you. We're now going to decouple over the next 5 years and basically transition. Do you think that people would think higher of Israel? At least we'd stop talking about it so much.
Yeah.
Would you put that like as a primary?
Yes. Yeah. I would say like that can kind of follow up with a lot of other things, like a lot of other like even European nations. Like I feel like they were kind of like even Trump had to like kind of even out NATO so that everyone was kind of paying the same, not the same amount, obviously, 5%. Yeah, but it just because like nobody wants a lot of Americans do not want people freeloading off the United States.
And as you said, 319 billion being sent to Israel over all these years. That's comparable to the amount we've sent to Ukraine. And there's been a lot of controversy over that, and yet not as much over Israel. And people are judged very heavily if they critique that aid that is given to Israel. I think I'm pro-Israel. I support them. I believe Israel has a right to exist. I believe that they are the only state in that region with the right to exist. But why are we treating them differently than any other ally? Should we not be judging them, holding them to the same standard?
I feel like it's becoming like the word racism. Like we just disagree with them, so we just have to call them a name. I don't think they're actually anti-Semitic. I think people just can't agree with them and they can't prove them wrong. So they just throw a word out and be like, you're anti-Semitic because you think that we should stop sending our money there.